Yeah, apparently that Diddy duck's pretty wild, but that's for a whole nother show going into 2026.
No Diddy here on the show.
No Diddy. Hey man, come on. I got to give you the kudos as soon as we start the show. The background, the new color. I told Nick, I was like, give me a second. Let me just brace myself. I was about to fall over at how good that looked behind you.
Yeah, we're painting the shop. Going to be here for a few more years. Got with the landlord, got a little plan together, got some work going on. We've upgraded the lights. We've done a lot, and the final kind of piece to this was having a team here from a good painting company. They're great guys fixing this up, and I think it's coming out good.
Yeah, I told Nick, I used to work for SW back in my day. Again, no surprise probably by the skin tone color here, but
something construction related.
Send me the color. I got to have that on something in the house. Even if it's in a closet, I want that color somewhere.
Yeah, it's nice, man.
So Nick called me yesterday. Interesting conversation. I was going through, I had already had a list of topics and stuff. I usually put things together on a list throughout the whole week, and then as the week winds down, I put it in order of either virality or interest or whatever. And Nick had already posed a question that I had on the list, which was Rivian's announcement, this whole new inside chips being made and the LiDAR being added, and R1 and R2 drivers will get this whole new assistant coming up, and software. And we ended up talking for, I don't know if you saw on our phone, it was 45 minutes.
Because I mean the guys, this EV thing, I'll just say from me, there's a lot of people that talk about this shit really improperly, in my opinion. It's like they're either some kind of evangelical for EVs, or they're so anti-EV they can't, think straight. And I think they're both the same side of the coin to me. So a big J journalist, makes this what looks like a press release post on Instagram, and it's nonsensical. I'm like, well, he's there, and there's more people there, and they're like really down this AI rabbit hole on their post, and I go, this just can't. Rivian, it's operated too intelligently for that to be the big story. And that's kind of what I said to you on the call. I'm like, this doesn't really seem like this is what Rivian would have been talking about. So, what was left out is basically the LiDAR move, which I guess they're betting on, or I know they're betting on. Insurers, regulators are all signed off on LiDAR. So if we don't go the LiDAR route, we're going to have all kinds of issues of getting into autonomous vehicles and getting things approved through the government, approved through the insurers. Then there's this weird moment where they say things like, when you're in full autonomous mode, L4 mode, we're going to cover the insurance. That's on this post. It was complete nonsense. Nonsensical. I don't mean that the announcement is nonsense. I'm sure this has been looked into. Then when you dig deeper into it, sort of the guys running the company start to say really interesting things like vertical integration. We're trying to control everything we do. This is what makes Rivian interesting in the car world, because it seems like to me, if they are really going this route, they're going to try on some level to bring almost everything in-house. And I think that's the interesting part.
I think you're right. And I use several different AI assistants and stuff to just kind of get my thoughts out depending on what kind of project I'm working on. But usually for the podcast, I'll just use, whatever I feel comfortable with at the time, or I already have some data fed into to kind of just put together some notes. And as I was going through the idea of what has kind of come up in the past that was very similar of these kind of announcements and claims of what's to come and what's around the corner. And you've said 1,000 times, I mean, you were in college when the skateboard was, this and XYZ is around the corner.
Everything's around the corner.
25
and by the way, this announcement is like last days of 2026, we could see something, but this could bleed into 27 before we really see, and we don't know which vehicle. So we're back into that game again. And I'm not blaming Rivian as the only people playing that game, but the right around the corner crowd, it has always in my career played right around the corner as some type of financial gain of right around the corner.
Right. And this is what I was telling Nick yesterday. It's just my 2 cents, right? And I almost always come from it from a skeptical side. I don't mean to. It's just that, and Nick knows this, and I'm sure listeners do. Once you kind of just know too much about some things, it's hard to unknow it. So you just put it all together. You always try to connect the dots in all the different arenas of life that you've kind of seen things unfold. But as AI, no matter what you use, Claude, Grok, ChatGPT, doesn't matter, Gemini, I know Nick's a big Gemini guy. It tends to put things together in a way, I know you laugh because we're always going back and forth on this. It tends to put things together in a way that sometimes you didn't phrase it. But this is what I came to, and it was at the top of my notes of the way I phrased the whole conversation with myself. And it's the vertical integration mirage, right? Because what Rivian was saying yesterday is what you've heard through Tesla's now, but even especially at the early days of like full self-driving. You heard it from Google with Google Glass. You heard it with Intel in their the vertical integration with their chips. It was with somebody else. I can't remember who had mentioned their partner here. I forgot it. There was the initial LiDAR boom back in the early 2010s. So a lot of this, it's not like we haven't heard it before, but Rivian is such an attractive company. They've done so much in so what feels like a so little amount of time that we're kind of just like, yeah, we're excited. Like, what is this? Is it really around the corner? But in my notes are way too long to go through all of them. It all sounds like stuff we've heard over the last 15 plus years.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt, right? I mean, this is what gets people like you. It's also being alive long enough.
Yeah.
You know, so there's things I believed at the age of 20 that now in my early 40s, I go, guys, I've heard this all before. Again, it's not necessarily the right way to look at EVs and go, well, I've heard this in tech for 25 years, but you can't help it. And I know many of you feel the same way.
Yeah.
It's like there is so much to unpack with the insurance part of this that it's not even really worth unpacking. And for anybody in the journalistic space, again, we always do that in air quotes, that is just kind of bypassing like the insurance is handled. You've never really dealt with insurance on a big boy level. Like you are now out of your depth big time. Yeah. Like you're gonna get in an accident and hand them Rivian insurance in Austin, Texas. This is not gonna go as smoothly as you're trying to portray. But also, there's going to have to be people on the hook.
Yeah.
And I got news for you. If I'm in autonomous driving and I'm still on the hook, that's not going to pass the smell test. Not long term. It can pass the smell test in this little beta version we've been doing for a decade, but long term, there's too many attorneys that make too much money that are going to find the loopholes and just going to. I mean, there are lawsuits that could bury some of these upstart companies. I mean, it's just that simple. Like there's some of this stuff you can't outpace financially. So I look at this and I go, you guys want to talk about vertical integration? Cool, let's talk about it. When are you going to start making your wiring harnesses? When are you going to start making all the stuff? When are you going to start making the battery? When are you going to start making everything? Because vertical integration on tech is not vertical integration to build a car. That's just stuff you guys are saying internally and to the doofuses that are there writing the press releases from the media. Vertical integration, traditionally, this is what made GE a powerhouse. Okay, This is also what dismantled General Electric. General Electric controlled a ton of stuff vertically, okay, all throughout all kinds of business units. Awesome, man. I think that's what these car companies should have been doing for the past 50 years, not going the other way. I've stated that on this podcast. I've said it about parts and all this kind of stuff where they've outsourced it and then it gets one hiccup and all of a sudden the whole supply chain's messed up over, 3 bolts that are being built in, Sweden. It doesn't make any sense, okay? So they use vertical integration, which I think is a great idea for these companies to do, to trick media members and go, well, see, we're going to do the chip and the AI in-house and the software development in-house, so we're going to be vertically integrated. They still can't make a wiring harness. That's not vertical integration. That's vertical integration on things that you can vertically integrate in an office building.
If you had the wand and you were pointing it in the direction you wanted the company or the whole technology stack to go, where do you think it goes? Because one of the first things as I'm working through the notes is that they would want to lean on their magical, innovative software where it's all in-house and essentially sell the consumer subscriptions, which is what it always comes back down to, right?
Sure. And I think if you were going to talk about owning an electric car company, the first thing you'd want to own is the electric.
Yeah.
Yet, they don't go that way because it costs $1 zillion and it's the hardest thing to own. They are picking off very easy things that you literally can put people in an office building or even working remotely to vertically integrate. They're not actually vertically integrating the toughest parts of the business. Now, that's not to say that the chip part and all this story they're telling about that is not a difficult task. I don't want to sound like that's not true. But the facts are, when they say the words vertically integrated, if their supply chain is still in Mexico or still in Asia or still in India to put the car together, then you've really vertically integrated software. Like that, again, bravo. I mean, that's what you should do. It's a smart move compared to what a lot of people are doing, bringing LiDAR on because the LiDAR cost, has come down significantly. They're making the most aggressive move at this now. But to me, if I had to guess, I think this has something to do with robo-taxis and them being in that business of Waymo or Zoox. If you guys haven't seen the Zoox vehicle, they're all over Vegas. Which is I believe a Bezos company. So I'm going to say that what this feels like to me is, yes, it's a play on autonomous driving, but all EV lovers think it's about their car, and I think it's more about the taxi part of it than it is about the individual's car getting to work. That'd be my read on it.
I think my read was going to be fleet at the end of the day. It's
that's a good call.
Fleet size. Again, the consumer kind of gets left in the dust because, let's just say we're the consumer. We don't have a Rivian or any of these EVs yet, but, we might one day. But we're the one that hypes it up. You support it. You spread the awareness of it. You get your friends convinced of it, your friends and family or whatever. And then you just never end up getting the result of like a consumer vehicle that you actually thought was going to come. It just doesn't happen.
Well, and I still have the same question I think every consumer has that cares about cars. I'm still waiting for all of this advancement makes things more affordable. That seems
a sweet ass time with EVs.
That seems to continually be skipped over.
I'll tell you.
It's like we got LiDAR, we got new chips, we got AI, we got. Okay, brother. Okay, but where is the cost coming down? Because that's really not happening. On any real scale. Are you building, can Rivian point to, hey, the first vehicle we brought out was roughly, 78 to 100,000 depending on when the economy and where it was, and now we have an option that's $62,000? Yeah, but it's smaller, it's cheaper to build, all good. But that isn't what the price point we need to break through. Again, we need to be way under $50,000. We need to be trending towards how to build stuff for $20,000 to $30,000, as we've stated here for the last year. We're just getting no closer to that.
But dude, I can tell my AI assistant to turn all the seat warmers on and leave mine off.
I mean, and you and I have talked about it. If you've seen the AI integration into Siri, good luck. Yeah. I'm sure it's all going to go swimmingly, but I do think it's important. I think Rivian is playing a different chess game than most EV manufacturers, and I think they actually have been from the beginning. They've built a better interior than almost any EV company consistently, where it just was modern. It was built to a high standard, not the perfect standard. It's not a Bentley interior. It's not I understand that. But is it light years ahead of what you get out of a Tesla at the same price point? Yeah, Tesla, kind of just does cheap interiors. Rivian gives you an elevated feel. Look, they thought about storage in the bed of their truck better than almost anybody at the time. And I think a lot of it comes, and this is why I cheer them on, their CEO is a car guy. I mean, this is a guy that was restoring Porsches at one point. And he is kind of one of us. Mm-hmm. To what level this all goes, it feels like it's a robo-taxi play. It feels like we're getting no closer to true vertical integration because they're never going to own the battery technology. It doesn't seem to me they're going to get into the manufacturing of batteries. Can they have certain technologies that are driven by them and bolted on to the raw battery? Probably. I mean, that's basically what's going on right now. That can continue forever and ever and ever. But until people start actually making the whole battery system, I think you got a cost problem that might never go away.
Yeah, and this is going to come up again forever as long as EVs are as big as they are today. In the sense of it might be the only car we have in the future. So what I want to do is tell the audience we don't want to sound like we're bored of talking about it, but there's times where it's like it's boring as in there's nothing else to say. Like we've kind of said it all, right? But I think announcements like this are worth talking about because we can always kind of parse out things that are said that were glossed over. I think we just did that in the first 15 minutes, the insurance thing being one of them that, gets glossed over, what vertical integration even means, today in 2025 or,
Well, and let's say this, because I think we gloss over this sometimes, and I want to make sure that we for people that want to learn, basically LG is building Rivian's batteries, I believe. I believe it was Samsung at one point. That's what I mean, is like the minute your supply chain for the biggest mover of your car is not yours. You're not building the cells from the ground up. Vertical integration's kind of a lie, right? Because that would be like saying Ford doesn't stamp any metal parts, right? Ford doesn't build anything in the engine. Chevy doesn't build their own engines. They have no capacity to do that. So there's the EV conundrum is the supply chain is heavily relying on people who are essentially not in the car business. They're only in the car business because they build batteries that go into the car business.
It's almost like a foregone conclusion that that'll ever happen because what you read is that when you talk about like this, for instance, the Rivian conversation, in-house silicone would mean less ECUs or ECUs they can handle or thermal anything or wire harness anything or fill in the blank, but it's never batteries. It's everything else.
Yeah, it's never batteries. And we all understand why. I don't want people to get parts of this conversation and be like, these guys don't understand how much. I understand how much it costs. But I'm saying you're the ones using vertically integrated. I didn't use those words. You used those words. And matter of fact, one of their biggest executives said that word quite a bit.
Who loves those words? Capital markets, right?
Yeah, that's a good call.
Just saying.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to own our technology.
Next time you want to raise money, the next time you want to, fill in the blank when it comes with the money. That's who likes it.
And anybody that's listened to me for a year, one of the greatest deals that existed during COVID, I couldn't tell you the exact year. It's all kind of rushed together. There was a point you could buy the Rivian truck for $75,000, and I told everybody in the market for an electric vehicle, I said, it's a $75,000 truck with $125,000 build quality. It was the best deal in the EV market. From new, I mean.
Right.
Because I got in one of those, I go, well, this costs a lot more than $75,000. Like, you could just feel it. You could feel a tailgate. You could look at all the features. You could get in the interior. You get into enough cars, you go, yeah, this isn't going to be $75,000 for long.
Did anybody take you up on that?
Oh yeah, no, I had a lot of customers. Good. I had a lot of customers that were like, sight unseen bought them, and then when they got them, they go, yeah, this won't be $75,000 for very long.
Why did you tell them? Why do you think you hire me? Why do you think you have me do this?
That's why you call me.
That's what I do, dog. It's
Better call Saul.
Better Call Saul. Very underrated show. That was a good show.
For a little bit, it got a little
weird.
Yeah,
a lot of those shows got weird.
Yeah.
All right. I want to contrast this conversation, this topic, with something else that I was actually doing a deep dive on already before Nick had called me with the Rivian thing, and that is Stellantis. Good old, American-made Stellantis, number 4 in the world.
French, Indian, American-made Stellantis.
It's like 3/4 French, obviously, at this point. And funny enough, that's who is backing this emergency room rush to recapture market. So this is from Reuters, but I was going through this and a couple of other articles about Stellantis' push to recapture market share, and it is so much different than what a Rivian or even Ford's kind of doing right now. And since this new CEO, what's his name, Flores, I think it is? Oh, Filosa. His priority is essentially to get back to what made Stellantis great in America or North America. It's affordable vehicles. He's trying to pursue the sub $30,000 fill in the blank that the market will buy. They've recaptured more market share in this past quarter than they had in the previous.
Unfortunately, when they try to capture the under 30,000, they use Fiats, which Fiat platforms of some sort. That's sort of like a bad. I don't know if he's listening to this, but you probably want to abandon using the Fiat platforms to get under $30,000 in the American market.
Yeah, it's up in the air. They're trying to find out which one of the 14
which
brands.
One's going to stick.
Yep, that's literally what was in there. We're trying to find one of the 14 brands that can actually deliver on this sub $30,000 vehicle. Yep. But on top of that, they're essentially abandoning all direct investments into EV and hydrogen and going the other way.
It's what do you do when the governments around the world get the different politicians in place and EV gets hot again? Because this is the yo-yo that's going to happen. Okay, so for everybody who doesn't follow this stuff, what's going to happen is this is all going to continue to go up and down in government demand, basically, on who's kind of running the biggest countries around the world at the time.
I was going to say cons for a second.
Yeah,
you wouldn't be wrong there, but
yeah, I mean, so you have a very car-friendly administration in America right now, allows them to back off EV. What happens when the next administration comes in, lays the hammer down? We've always on this show been very big defendants of car companies and how these governments have screwed them over in a lot of ways by yo-yoing back and forth with EPA regulations, et cetera. I don't think you should be out of the EV business. I think that'd be dangerous because what happens when the world changes again? So I don't think I would dump it all. I understand scaling it back, but it sounds like he feels like we can't do both. We don't have the capacity to save this company and actually, do both. So we're going to have to just go down a path and live with it. And that's sort of the part of being a CEO you're in charge to do. Like that's what you're being hired to make the call on.
Yeah, when he came in, the other guy, Tavares, I think was his name, when he was let go, Stellantis essentially had the smallest market share in the history of the company at just like under 7% of market share. So, I mean, they were like, okay, we need an emergency turnaround. We can't do multiple things at once. We got to do this.
Yeah,
we got to know what's going to work. Yeah.
Makes total sense. And when you talk about the profit center, America can be a huge profit center. It could also be a real strangle around you, like we're seeing with Nissan and Infiniti and the Stellantis brands. Like when you get America correct, i.e. Toyota, et cetera, it really buoys your company, right? And allows you to do a lot of things globally and strengthen your power basically from America out, right? Not every car company has this ability, but the car companies that can get America right, the profit center from there basically leads to this global dominance and investment that they can make that you can't make if you don't have profitable American sales.
Yeah, and so this emergency turnaround, right, that's being fueled essentially by the big French families and the French government is what's making all this happen. So that's kind of like it's a really good, promising, feeling, I guess, for Stellantis and all of their other partners. When you have that big of a backing, you're like, okay, maybe they are in the right. And although you're right, it might be just a yo-yo rightness of time where it's going to make sense for those people to put up that kind of investment and say, run with your idea of going back to cheap combustion, abandon EV.
Well, I mean,
hydrogen.
Speaking of France, the question I have for you is, are they going to backstop Ineos's factory? Because the stuff coming out of Ineos is not positive. It's not positive at all.
I haven't. You know what? I haven't heard much of Ineos.
I mean, that guy's a billionaire, so I'm sure he's going to figure his way out. But the Ineos story is not going well, and it's not going well because that vehicle again needed to be sold in the U.S., needed to be successful in the U.S. All the tariff stuff and all the stuff that's come during this administration basically made it where price-wise, Ineos kind of just couldn't really get where they needed to go price-wise. And so you think about all of this stuff, and it all comes back to if you're in, especially in the American market as we are, all roads lead to you better start building stuff in the U.S. Because it's getting really hard to compete for a lot of these companies. And I think that's Stellantis' number one issue. I think the only thing Stellantis should be looking at is what can be built in the U.S., what can be built quickly, what can be built at a fair price, and how quickly can we get it out there. Because if they got to go to the globe, that's the whole Fiat joke. They go to the whole globe to then bring cars into the U.S. I just don't see how that works for them. Now, I don't have access to all the information they got access to, but I can't see it working.
Wait. Does that mean that we might see an Ineos at a price that Nick could actually pick up and say, this is, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, man.
That might complete the garage right there.
We finally got the Ineos dealership here. So
perfect timing.
made a little phone call over there and how's everything going? Not well, not a lot of movement, not a lot of movement. So
Perfect time to make the introduction. Hey, my name's Nick Walters.
yeah, I had a customer looking for one, and we're in talks. It's probably going to go pretty well.
Pretty quickly, I'd say about 15 minutes in and out. Tell your friends, please.
Yeah, no, I cheer them on because I think it's a cool concept, bringing back something kind of vintage. But everything's price point, man. And if you're not at the right price point, which is Stellantis has found out, Ford is finding out, I think Tesla is now at a 4-year low in sales. The worlds are colliding here.
Yeah.
And for everybody who's kind of asking what could happen, the way out of this is the consumer's tapped out.
Yeah.
You can't keep going up. Maybe you can stay lateral, but most of these car brands are going to have to figure out how to cut the consumer in on a deal.
Yeah, a meaningful deal.
Yes,
too.
agreed. 100%. Not $2,000 off. I mean,
exactly.
When you were selling a $30,000 truck and you said $2,000 off, it meant something. When that same truck is $73,000, $2,000 doesn't feel like a whole lot.
Dude, no joke. Tell me this. What do you think about the comments? Because we've had a lot of videos here recently go pretty wild across different socials, and whether not just Toyota, although it was some Toyota videos as well. When you get commenters that like, I'm from or visited, we'll just say China or wherever.
Yeah, wherever.
And do what?
Or wherever.
Wherever. A fully loaded RAV4, fully loaded XYZ is like 36, 40 on the top end, and that's kind of where our start.
Yeah, no. Look, the game in the U.S. is different than the game in Italy, is different than the game in South Africa, is different than the game everywhere else, right? So these car companies are playing the game with the governments. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of regulations that are good for the consumer, such as safety regs, that the U.S. has made cars a little safer for you to drive, or a lot safer than the older cars. So you can't bash all of that stuff, right? And we never have. I think people believe we have, but I've never bashed safety regulations. I've said, I don't know that some of these sensors are making everything safer, but making the crumple zones better, doing that kind of stuff, there's no question that stuff is a huge impact on the safety of the car. But I love how people believe that these companies don't know what it takes to get into the U.S. market.
That's the best way to put it.
They're like, if only the U.S. government, buddy, Toyota knows the game.
Yeah.
If they wanted to sell a cheap truck here, they build it here, they sell it here. They escape 99% of the problems. They didn't want to do that. That's not the U.S. government's fault. That's Toyota making a corporate decision. They are the game has always been pretty much the same, with little regulations going up and down and tariffs going up and down and disappearing altogether and coming back. But if you built stuff in Alabama, or you built stuff in Detroit, or you built stuff in Austin, Texas, you largely escaped a lot of it. They didn't want to make the investment. That's okay. It's okay, but you can't sit here and be surprised that prices are different all over the globe. And it seems like people are just shocked. Well, I went to this country on vacation, and they had this one 70 series. Guys, if you price the 70 series, it's going to be the same cost as a 4Runner, if not more expensive for less, and you guys are going to be bitching about that.
I think the way I summarize it most times in my head is when it comes to these manufacturers making money, I think we can all agree they understand how to make money. I think the bigger obstacle is how long will this thing make money, whatever the initiative is at the time. So whether it was EV and the push to go green and zero emissions and all this kind of stuff, well, that was like, okay, I think we have a decent projection of how long this will last. And when things have to turn on a dime, like Stellantis here, they're like, okay, we understand how to make money. Let's revert back. Who's on board? We know how to make the money. Like, just give us the investment and we'll recoup that. But then again, if another administration comes in, you have to go back to the head scratchers of like, okay, well, how long can this make money until we have to revert back to what we know makes money?
Yeah, I mean, we all can say out loud that these companies wouldn't have built EVs at the level they did and lose all these billions of dollars if the worldwide governments weren't pushing it.
Yeah.
It's not like the CEO of Ford is that big of a dummy, like, hey, let's go build a Ford. He felt he had to.
Yeah.
Why? Regulations. Right? And by the way, that wasn't just the U.S., okay? This was worldwide going on, still going on, and I see the EU's pulling back on some of this stuff too. Mm-hmm. But again, guys, these guys have to make real-time decisions that take years to go into effect based on what they're being told they have to meet. So it's not always everybody's a dummy and you're the smart guy. Like that isn't how this all works. Like most of you don't have all the information. And you're just saying, why can't we get this $13,000 truck in the U.S.? They can't meet safety regulations. And then by the time they pay the tariff, by the time they get it in here, but it was never going to be $13,000. I'm rooting it on.
Yeah.
But by the way, in what universe does somebody want to undercut their truck selling for $60,000 by bringing in a $15,000 truck?
Blame it on the one world government, brother.
Yeah, brother.
Alex Jones mixed with Hulk Hogan.
Turn the frogs gay.
It's my favorite. It's my absolute favorite.
That's absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that was a great way to kind of compare the two, contrast what Stellantis, Rivian's doing. If we get into some fun, just kind of, actually, let me ask you this before we move on. What was the first feature that was, whether you call it a new safety feature or just technological feature where you were like, that's awesome. I'm glad I have that.
I'll tell you one of the features that is pretty crazy. It doesn't still, I know why it doesn't still exist, but do you remember the first car you got in when the seatbelt was automatic on the door frame?
Oh, you mean the old Escorts?
And like that Ford favorite. Probe, things like that. That was probably one of those things that was the least cool thing that you thought was the coolest thing in the world. And technically it was a safety feature, right? Because it was automatically putting your seatbelt on, or at least the top part of your seatbelt on. That was probably the first thing that I thought was so cool. And looking back, I'd be like, actually, it was kind of annoying because sometimes you'd be trying to get in the car and you'd be moving around. The thing would like get stuck.
It was also really loud if we're being honest.
It was loud. Then you had to find you had to find the red button, and then it would release real fast, and it could whack you in the side of the head. That was probably like one of those things for those of us that were there. When you had a buddy or you got one, you go, man, this thing's cool. But it was only cool for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you like you said, you had to find the red button and it clicked and the metal part hit you on the side of the head because it whipped back to that was probably like the first one I remember.
Dude, I'm so glad you mentioned that because I forgot about that feature. But those old little cars, a lot of those old commuter cars had that. And I did think it was so cool because it was just like, it was on its trolley. You're a kid. I was a kid, so my cousins had these cars.
And by the way, just like, you would be pissed if it was in your car now.
Oh,
you would be. No. Don't lie, dude.
You're, I had an SRT4.
You're carrying stuff. I'm talking about on your daily drive now.
Carrying stuff. What am I, a girl with my Stanley in my purse that I can't
you don't have a you don't take your laptop with you? Okay, dude, you're too cool.
I have a hatchback. I throw it in the back like a man.
Oh, you don't ever carry a water bottle? You don't ever need some water? You don't ever have any?
Put it in my door. The GTI has huge cup holders. I don't have to put it in the car.
Don't be an internet hardo on this. Like you never have anything in your hand.
I mean, I don't.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to get the Ring camera footage at your crib, and I'm going to watch it like a hawk and be like, okay, see? And then I'm just going to start posting it on socials and be like, look, Rob.
Actually, the kids' backpacks are always, those get in the way. Those are the only things that get in the way.
There you go. I said, everybody's a little different. You always have something, something you got to do.
2 backpacks. Guys, you can't carry your own shit. Give me a break
100%.
All right, that's a good call. I do want to ask you though, modern wise, like, because the first thing that comes to mind when the blind spot monitoring was basically like, everywhere, I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. I don't know why in my mind I thought that was one of the coolest little additions to cars.
Yeah, I think I could vote for that. Nice. I think I could vote for that. But once you start driving your car a lot, you kind of blank out. It just like fades into the background. You don't really. Yeah. But it is like helpful for those first couple weeks you own the car, and then but you just ignore it all. You're looking over your shoulder. You're just going back to the old habits, aren't you?
Pretty much. You're absolutely right. Some things just old habits die hard, as they say. We brought up MJ a couple weeks ago, dude, in the NASCAR thing. You see the guy, they had a settlement yesterday.
Well, come on.
I mean, it was quicker than I told you. I was like, it's going to be as fast as it can be, and it was quicker than I thought.
Yeah, so I didn't read in on the settlement, but this is what happens. You don't want people to go too deep. You don't want things to become public. You want to avoid embarrassment. This is the lawsuit world. I think they were, total of 16, 18 months? I mean, that's what
I think it might have been even a little shorter than that, yeah.
Yeah, so I've been to a lot of NASCAR races, actually, in my life. Like, a lot of fun. I don't watch it on TV, but
sure.
Hey, the party at the NASCAR race is a hell of a lot of fun.
You got to be there. If you're in the pit and you're kind of doing your thing, like this is the best time ever.
Hey.
It's kind of like college, whatever.
And by the way, when you're single, a lot of talent. A lot of talent.
A lot of talent, as they say. A lot of talent. All right. We got a video that was sent to me here. I got to pull it up. And I know we kind of already talked about this with EVs, but it seems like Toyota's going the extra mile when it comes to subscriptions. Have you heard this? Have you heard they're doubling down on this? Let me try to pull.
I love this.
Let me,
I'd be furious if I got my Lexus LX 470 and I had to buy a subscription to anything.
we're gonna watch it together because I only started it and I wanted to watch it together without getting an idea myself.
A year to keep all of our functions on our 2025 Camry after we've owned it for a year. Let's go ahead and dive into what it is. Well, everything's a subscription nowadays, so it shouldn't be too surprising that cars are now wanting a subscription as well. And after a year, Toyota expires some of the vehicle functions. So what are those functions? Well, probably the biggest thing that expires after a year is remote start via the Toyota app. So you used to be able to, from anywhere, open the app and remote start your vehicle to get it cooled down. That's no longer a thing after a year. You also lose the digital key functionality, so you have to take your keys everywhere with you. You can no longer use your watch or your phone. Another big thing that expired is
use your watch anyway.
Satisfying the high-end XSE trim level with the big screen. And when we tab to the navigation menu, guess what? It's now expired. And if I hit get started, all it wants to do is sell me this subscription. So how much? Well, $15 a month is the entry-level price if you want the app functionality with things like navigation, which I feel like we already paid for. Now, if you want additional things like Apple Music to be able to function inside the car natively, that's $25 a month. And then if you want Wi-Fi on top of that, that's an additional $25 a month. So yes, you can spend $50 a month on this Camry in subscriptions, $600 a year. Now, of course, we're not doing that.
Bro, $600 a year for your Toyota Camry subscriptions?
Oh, my. I actually didn't know it was this bad.
I didn't either. Although I had said a year ago that the tokenization and subscriptions would take over, it only took 12 months.
We get it, Rob. You were correct. We get it.
I mean, Nick gets too many of them. I got to get my one or two every time, all right? I got to get my one or two.
You were on this early. I just don't know how it's defensible. I mean, it's going to happen. We all got to probably live with it. But I just don't know how anybody, and we'll have people in the comments, and there'll be some of you that defend this because it's the brand you like or the people you like or whatever it is you say in your head. I just don't think this should happen. Now, the whole question I have, because this video doesn't make it clear, can I still just connect my phone for free and then everything works? Or is there something about the whole interface that you have to buy no matter what to connect your phone?
That's a very good question. The video did not make it clear, and I don't own a Toyota Camry.
I don't. So anybody out there, somebody leave it in the comments of what's happening or what could happen. But I still say if you can connect your phone and your phone can run the infotainment, and you can bypass all this subscription, that's what 99% of us do anyway. Mm-hmm. So are they just getting the people around the edges? Now, if what they're doing is you basically have no connectivity whatsoever without some type of subscription, I think you're down a pretty diabolical road.
Diabolical is my favorite word these days to describe almost everything. Let me see. I'm going to actually see. Can you use your phone connected to Toyota? I wonder if it's only... Well, it can't just be Camry. That'd be crazy.
No. It's. I mean, that's almost like besides. I mean, I guess you could call Corolla. Obviously they're base, but I mean, Corolla and Camry are like a hand-in-hand thing to me. So, if it's on those, I would assume it's on RAV4 and Grand Highlander and everything else. You've called this for a long time, long before we ever had a podcast, that this is where all this was headed. So for everybody that wants to pat Rob on the back here, that's 110%. He's been in this world on this one from the beginning.
I will take those pats on the back.
I didn't. And I do seriously have this question. If I literally just can't connect my phone without some type of subscription, I think you're down a real crazy road.
So it says you can still use CarPlay and Android Auto for navigation and music, but you can't use any advanced features. So the list, I mean, it's an extensive list, I think, but it only notes, remote start, using your key fob, keyless entry, that kind of stuff. You can't, there's no other way other than subscription.
I really would like to hear from like our crowd. Is it that big of a deal to carry your keys?
It's an interesting question because I've gotten back to the point where I kind of like it. Like sometimes I'll visit a relative, or usually my parents, and they have cars with keys still, really, and I kind of enjoy putting it in there and turning the ignition.
Well, I mean, I still have, I mean, my LX is still keyed, but what I'm saying is they go, hey,
You can't use your watch.
You're going to, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
no gentleman should be using a watch. Yeah, don't do that, Rob. We've already had this discussion. And for everybody always asks me, I got an old school G-Shock on today. Just roughing it a little bit, just in case I fall in some mud or have to run a race. I got my G-Shock ready.
The only way I will get one of these, and I like timepieces. Don't get me wrong. I just don't really feel like buying one. But I've seen videos of this guy, this one particular guy, who has found Rolexes at pawn shops that I guess the pawn shop thought was a fake or something, takes it somewhere, and it's worth thousands of dollars.
Yeah, good for him.
Good for him, right?
Yeah,
I want to do that.
Yeah, good for him.
So this is what I'm going on the search for real quick is Pokemon cards and Rolexes. I'm going to be buying these two things together. And the person at the shop is going to be like,
you better start a new channel. I don't want any of that on our. But anyway,
how artistic are you?
Yeah, so we have, I need a key to get into my shop. So I always, if I go to work, I have to carry a key no matter what.
You don't have a retina display or a thumb?
I don't have. Evidently, I'm not. I would assume most of you have something that you're going to where you might need a key to get in your house, or you need a key to get into a shop or to an office. So this whole keyless entry thing, the only company I think that's never gotten credit that I think is a great feature is the Ford keypad.
Love it. Yeah,
I think that should have been on every car. And by the way, Ford hardly ever talks about it.
I know,
which I think is crazy to me. So I kind of understand that. Like you're going to go out, to go for a run or go on a hike, and you can leave your keys in, and you just gotta, punch in your code. The keyless entry thing to me, which now Toyota's charging for. Is it just that big of a deal to carry a fob? Because don't you need other keys in your life? Like I have 2 keys or 3 keys on my key ring. I'm not one of those 27 key guys. I know there's a lot of people like that. Mine's like 2 or 3 keys.
Yeah.
But I also need the 2 or 3 keys.
Yeah. How do you feel about key organizers then? A little leather key organizer?
Well, here's the deal. I don't have enough to organize. Mine are just like, I got a very tiny amount, Rob.
I do too. But I mean, I've always thought to myself, maybe it's one of those things where like as dudes, you're like, that's a cool little usable knick-knack that I could
It's sort of like the metal wallets. The problem is if you roll heavy with cash, they never work.
Oops, that's really loud.
Yeah.
The Groove wallet, this thing is incredible. I used it for a year. I loved it, but I went back to a regular leather wallet because I needed to put some bills in there. I got to put some cash.
And you got to carry a knot with you, period. That's just the way I grew up. You got to have some cash. Anything can happen. That's why I got this tool watch on, and you carry cash. Anything can happen, Rob. You might have to bribe a federale. You don't know.
You just never know the circumstances you might find yourself in, especially in Las Vegas. If you know what I'm saying.
You might need to hit the craps table. You want to do it quick?
Yeah, in and out. Get in and out. No paper trail.
Don't
anything.
Want to have to go to the ATM.
I don't want to tap to pay at the fucking table. You know what I mean? Like that's not the way this goes down. But actually, I've met a couple of leather workers, dude. And in the future, I kind of want to just see if I can have a custom wallet made with all of the things that I think would make a perfect wallet, and then brand it for the podcast or for our audience, and just be like, look, you guys would get this.
Yeah, and by the way, I think that's like we talked about the cobbler content.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
These leather maker content, you can't turn it off. Once you get like a short in front of your face, it's like 3 minutes long. You're like, I'm gonna watch him make this handbag.
And now I'm watching 10 people.
I'm not in the handbag market, but I got news for you. I'm gonna watch it.
I got news for you is the right thing because I got news for you. I ended up picking up like a little thing that you put on your counter whenever you get home to put your keys in your wallet.
Yep.
This beautiful leather thing where
it snaps on. Dude,
he so got me. But like you can unsnap it to put it in your briefcase or rather suitcase if you're traveling, and it's just flat, and then you can clip it back together to make it a little square for a little. It's just like, and it smells like brand new leather.
You're just like, I mean,
I love it.
Social media really does some cool stuff at times. It does some other shit that we're all like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But like cobbler content, leather making content, them telling you what kind of leather they bought. There's these guys that make these $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 wood tables that they're selling to people. I'm like, I don't know how I got onto this, but I'm just on it. I just see the shit.
I can appreciate it because that's like good craftsmanship,
Agreed.
right? Good artists and stuff. So I'm gonna put a call out to the listeners because I just love suggestions for wallets, and I understand why women love purses, obviously, right? Like it's just something cool. But like my favorite style is like a little bifold size like this, right? Do
Yeah.
you still have a small wallet like this?
Yeah, mine's. Hold on.
Where it just opens kind of like a FBI open up. Yes, I love exactly.
So mine's
very
got,
similar.
Mine's got the cash strap on the middle. There we go.
Yep. Mine's got it on the inside, so I gotta like fold it, put it in there, which I kind of like because it's kind of hidden. But I do like yours because I saw that one. And I was like, ooh,
Yeah,
it's got a little divot.
That's what I've been rocking for a little bit. I mean,
Yeah, I like that.
I'm with you guys. If you got good like leather small wallets, but yeah, I tried the metal ones. It didn't work for me.
Did you ever go Ridge?
I did try the Ridge. Again, if you roll heavy with a knot, Ridge is not friendly. Hey,
it's huge.
how I grew up was rubber band.
Yeah, you're right.
So there is still a restaurant out here. It's called Piero's. They gave those away. Like you could get them at the restaurant. Like you could
Really?
get the Italian, and that's
When I was a
half
kid-
half of my family. That's
hilarious.
so my first ever was rubber band.
When I was a kid, and I was always hustling to make some money, like flipping cards or games or whatever, I used to get giant paper clips and just put. Before I knew what a cash clip really was, I'd just get a giant paper clip.
So here's the crazy thing. So I know this guy, very good friend of mine. He's a top spinal surgeon. So they fly him all over to do like cases. He uses what are those like binder clips?
Oh yeah,
To this day,
those thick ass chip clip things where
Yeah.
like if you clip it and then it flips over.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah,
Old school.
Yeah, he just rolled, and he bought found one that was like all silver. So it's like, dude, I'm telling you,
I don't know why I like the sound of that.
I'm
now.
like, what are you doing, dude? He's like, it just works. And he always rolls the heavy with it. We call it heavy. Are you rolling with the heavy?
It just works is also a great way to just reply to anything that somebody questions you and you're like, it just works.
Exactly.
Don't question it.
Every Honda owner. That's what they say. It just works.
That's good. That was good. It just works. All right. Speaking of it just works, did you happen to watch the Porsche documentary? That
Yeah, I thought it
Tiger
was
put
really
together?
cool.
It was cool, right?
Really
so
cool.
This is by Motor Trend, but this is cool. The 2027 Porsche 911 GT390 is perfect for Porsche history nerds. Beautiful Porsche in the green that you think every car should have, at least.
Gentleman
one
spec.
option
If it's got the cognac interior, they've really done it up right. There it is.
There you go.
Hey,
Of
got some
course.
houndstooth in there, it looks like.
I like that, right?
Yeah, that's top tier right there.
These cars they've always been popular. They've always seemed to be going up in value, at least over the last like 10, 15-ish years. What's, in your opinion, the next thing to become, I guess, reasonable, like just a gentleman's affordable Porsche?
It could be gone, brother.
Could be gone.
be gone.
Damn, I did not expect that.
I mean, look, we've told you guys 996 is about your last hope right now. Everything
Last
else.
hope.
I saw DeMuro bought, I think, a 993. I think he said he paid $250,000. The only thing I liked about Doug's video, he shared a lot of cool stuff, how, he got to take his son for his first ride in a sports car because the sports cars he owns don't have a back seat. That one does.
Oh, that's cool.
He got kind of choked up. I think that's a cool moment, for guys like us. But he says it pretty honestly, and I think I've heard him in a couple interviews now, or a couple clips. He's just like, it's not a $250,000 experience. It's like, if I didn't have the money I have, like this just isn't a $250,000 experience. But you can still love the car and say that, which is what I've always wanted the Porsche guy to be honest about, which none of them are. But Doug, now owns 2 Porsches. He keeps saying he's not a Porsche guy, which is a kind of a funny joke. But he kind of says it. I mean, look, man, I love Porsche. I think in my life, it stood for something different than it stands for now. I've expressed that before. But damn, they built a good sports car, man. And it's a shame that it's now getting to the point of just unreachable in a lot of different aspects. You can still get to go the Cayman route and different, but that 911 turbo life that so many of us who are probably, 30 and above, 35 and above, man, you're going to have to make some serious coin to get into that world.
Well, speaking of cool sports cars, Car and Driver puts out the list of cars to look forward to or wait for in 2026 and beyond. And speaking of, these really fun sports cars, has this design grown on you yet? The 26 M3 or 3 Series?
Is that an Evo?
It looks like the modern Trans Am that you see on some of these body kits.
What? No, this isn't.
Come on, you're not going to buy one of these? I figured you'd be all over this.
Hell no. What is going on here?
A new direction, like most things, you know? New directions.
I think somebody should be seriously investigated.
For what? Tell me for what?
Bad taste? What can we get them on, Rob? A RICO statute?
minimum.
I mean, something to get them in jail. I don't know. Make
Straight to
something
jail.
up.
Straight to jail. Right away, jail.
Yeah, that's just not good. That is not anywhere near. I may be seeing it from a weird angle here. We're getting one picture from Car and Driver, but this is a bad angle. I mean,
It's the angle.
I don't know, Rob. What is going on here?
I mean, we talked about it because it's on that new platform that the EV that has the screen at the bottom of the windshield is on, the Class A, whatever, new Class A.
I don't know. Those wheels are heinous.
Yeah, that's something out of like a bottom of the barrel GTI.
It seems like it should be in Transformer movie.
Don't insult Bumblebee like that. You son of a bee.
I mean, yeah, guys, I'm not. I think if you're of a certain age, you're coming of a certain age, this is the BMW you're growing up with, you're going to have a different opinion than me. I mean, this is nowhere near E92, E90, E46. I mean, what is this? This is no heritage to anything. This is no connection to anything. I tend to vote that if it looks so out of whack for what you've built in the past, it's when you've already built beautiful cars, I think that's probably the wrong direction. That doesn't mean you got to hold on to the past, okay? Because that's what people think I'm saying is things don't evolve. Yes, things evolve, but you don't evolve past building. This is the argument I make for Aston Martin. Aston Martin's just always building good-looking cars. Mm-hmm. Now, nobody buys them. I'm very aware of that. But you go, okay, they know how to build a good-looking car. BMW, for most of your life, knew how to build a good-looking car.
I'll show you my favorite one, and I actually just bought an RC drift version of this car, and if and when I can ever find 30 minutes to do something outside of work, it'll be for work purposes, ironically, but I bought this little RC drift, and tell me this isn't one of the, if not, I mean, I know you have your favorites, but a lot of younger people will also remember this car.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2005 M3 from Need for Speed,
Yeah.
Most Wanted.
Looks
I
good,
love
dude.
this car so much.
Looks good. I mean, why did you have to go so far from this?
This is
To me,
this
you
is
didn't have
such
to.
perfection.
To me, you didn't have to. You didn't have to go that far from this, right? Just put some modern touches and get out of the way. You already figured out the algorithm.
Get out of the way is a great phrase, too.
Get out of the way.
Get out of the way. Settle down, one, and then get out of the way.
You don't have to do too much when you already learned how to build a beautiful car, right? It's like, go back to some of those late 90s, early 2007 series. You had it figured out. You didn't have to drift too far, okay? You just stay in the pocket.
Stay in the pocket,
Stay in the pocket. And it's just, they can't help. Somebody's got to always put their stamp on the company. The wrong executives, the wrong team gets in there. This is what you get. This is what you get. And I mean, that looks like an Evo to me.
I, for one, will not stand for this, is what I felt was coming out of your mouth.
No, I'm not going to. That's why I say a lot of times I hate guys that are so brand loyal they can't say when the brand went off kilter.
Yeah.
Design-wise, BMW has gone off kilter. If you still buy it because you like the powertrain and you're like, it's super, I'm not making that argument. That is an ugly vehicle.
I agree. Let's take a completely different turn on another one of these vehicles to look forward to, which we haven't heard a whole lot about, and I don't think we've even covered on the show once yet, but that is a 26 Corvette SUV. This is probably on the list for me, I'm not going to lie. I like it. I like it a lot. It looks better than the Lambo, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is the craziest take.
Nah, it's pretty solid.
No, it's a terrible take.
Solid.
Yeah. Lambo
Solid.
sold 8 zillion of them. They don't look good. come on, dude.
Hey, no one said relax. All right, Dad. It didn't look good. Don't rephrase my words here.
Hey, yeah, you and I were just having a conversation about that.
Yeah, why are you taking words out of my mouth?
Hey, that's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Not what I said. I think this looks cool. I think this is a good opportunity. We've heard for a while that the Corvette sub brand would be producing some kind of different models. And if this is the first model or one of the first models, I think this is pretty cool.
So can I make a request here to the Chevy Corporation or the
listening.
General Motors Corporation, the Corvette team as a whole? I think there's something weird from front door back. I think I'd probably fix that a little bit. It maybe doesn't flow the way. I think the front end is fine. I think there's something in that rear fender that looks kind of goofy.
Guess they're just trying to give you too much space is what it looks like.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because that back window looks funky.
Yeah. This is what the Lambo would look like if it gave you more space.
This is what the Lambo would look like if they had bad design. Yes.
I mean, I set you up.
You walked right into it. Is
he going to smash it out of the park?
And,
all right, I'll give him a double.
I'll ask this question for everybody looking online right now, watching us online. Is that a white roof or is that a panoramic roof?
No, it looks like a panoramic
Okay,
roof.
thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. This isn't a Honda HR-V. Right? Relax. Not a Juke. It's not a Nissan Juke. Everybody be cool.
It's not a Scion.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Scion's back. Did you see that?
Hey, so I told you. I showed everybody at SEMA the Scion, side by side.
Oh, you did. I forgot. But have you seen it in action?
No, I haven't.
Okay, fantastic. Let me just go ahead and pull this up for you real quick. I even had it queued up as an extra thing in case we didn't have everything, enough time to cover everything. But whatever. Check this out. Oh God, I'm not going to play the volume. It's just so loud. Toyota revives the Scion name.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw this exact one, I believe, at SEMA. It's a side-by-side. I mean...
I'd rather have this or the Tello. I mean, those are our options in the future, guys.
Yeah. I think we'd all probably vote for this, would be, what we would vote for. But, look, they're building it. I think they're probably using it for some of their off-road chops, for development of suspension parts and things like that. So if you look at the greater picture, this gives them a chance to very cheaply test things out that could possibly go on TRD stuff or things like that. I'm not saying that's what they're doing, but that would make logical sense. The Scion brand is one of those things for me, and I never really dug deep into their sales numbers, so I'm just saying this off my head. I saw them and still see them. I'm almost surprised. It's sort of like Saturn. I can't believe Saturn is gone because everybody you knew, somebody had a Saturn, somebody had two Saturns. If they had two 16-year-old kids, there were Saturns or Scions or I don't know what the sales numbers were. I don't know. I mean, obviously Saturn was gobbled up by the bankruptcy, when GM had to declare bankruptcy. And by the way, did you see the video of a guy who was working at a retail store who GM ripped him off of his pension during the bankruptcy and he was getting no pension and he was broke and they raised $1 million for him? Did you see that?
No.
Couldn't have been a good week for the General Motors executive team.
Do you think this was the same week where the guy figured out how to play GM's points rewards app and ended up getting a an Escalade V for $60,000 or $90,000 off, essentially?
I didn't see this.
Oh my God! How did I forget to put this on this week's list? So GM's got a reward loyalty program where you can earn points by watching advertisements and watching these videos that they make and whatever to build more brand loyalty. So you would earn points and you could use those points for GM stuff. We'll call it swag or whatever.
Hey, did this guy have one of those mouse contraptions that kept the mouse moving like they did during COVID? So they thought
not
you were
only
online?
that, but there was no limit to the amount of accounts you could associate with your account. So he
God.
just put together we'll call it hundreds of accounts, racked up. I think it was the equivalent of, don't quote me here, but 100 hours of doing this, consuming this GM content through the loyalty app. And he ended up putting a $90,000 payment and paying off his his Escalade V.
That's unbelievable.
And because it would cost so much for GM to do anything about it, they just swept it on the rug and let it go because litigation would have cost way more than the $90,000.
And by the way, what are you going to litigate? What are you going to litigate?
You played your system.
Yeah, you set up the stupid rules.
Dude, that was the grin on my face because in the comments, some people were like, oh, I mean, this is how you ruin good loyalty programs. People like this. I'm like, are you really defending
Well,
the fact
and
that...
let's all chill on the loyalty programs. We're all a little burnt out. Okay, relax.
Hey, no. We got a Clutch Culture Loyalty program coming out. Relax.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Don't put that in the listeners' ears. What's wrong with you?
That's funny.
Let me see if I could actually just GM.
That's crazy. Makes for good radio when we're looking stuff up on the internet.
Oh my God! You know what? Screw it. I gave you the story.
What wouldn't have happened if Jamie was here? Wouldn't have
That's
happened
the
if
gist. Well, you know what? Jaime's doing it another way, as I've said before. Jaime does it his way. Jamie can suck it. All right, as we round out the show and land the plane here, I do have one more thing to show you because I still can't believe they're going to be producing more things that look like this. But one of your favorite brands will be releasing this Jaguar, I guess, I-Type in 2027.
By the way, they clipped the dude that was in charge of all this.
Yeah, but here we are. We're still looking at more shit that looks like it.
I mean, it looks all right. It just who's gonna buy it? And the big thought, a lot of us were saying it at the time. Jaguar seemingly was going after sort of the rich Chinese Asian market with a lot of their, redesign.
Yeah.
I don't think they knew the $10,000 EV was just around the corner. They must have missed the memo because now it's basically like this isn't going to work. I don't know who they're going to be building this for. I think all of us probably feel the same. You were around at a time when Jaguar still kind of meant something, and you got to see a lot of cool Jags in your life. It just gets more sad by the minute. It's like I don't even want this news because this is kind of depressing.
Especially when you get to the end of it and here, we expect pricing to start close to $200,000 as Jaguar aims to capture wealthier, younger audience.
People weren't buying $70,000 Jaguars at the end.
Wealthier and younger with $200K EV all in one sentence.
I know.
Just,
so what?
diabolical.
Like 7 Bitcoin bros? Like who are you gonna sell this to?
The one guy that found the hard drive from the guy.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Threw it
That's
away.
digging in the dump.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't see that. I think none of you see that, and I wonder how much of this they're just using as development inside of the whole conglomerate that they own, and they're just kind of letting Jaguar be this thing where they, try stuff, research stuff, design stuff. It's almost like a design studio with no end in sight. I wonder if that's what it is. Because this isn't viable. So let's all get that out of the way. It's not going to work. None of it's going to happen, right? Like this isn't going to take place. So let's just say it's like an independent design studio under the umbrella of Jaguar. I don't know. I mean, what's the other alternative? This isn't going to work.
The only alternative is that you just want to incinerate the whole brand, which is what they're kind of doing right now.
Exactly. I mean, I think we go back to what we've been saying for years. Sometimes just don't say anything at all as a brand. Like
Again,
just
settle down
just
and get out of
fade
the way.
into the abyss, be quiet for a while, get your bearings about you. You just clipped the dude that was the head of all this disaster. Just relax.
When that car goes on sale, if it actually does, and they end up selling, even if they sell 1 or 5, you're going to see commercials that are like just "Hello, darkness, my old friend," and then you'll never see Jaguar again after that year.
Can I put a shout out? Any billionaire out there that could get Jaguar back to the old Jaguar, let's maybe take a swing. If you're on your way out, you only got 10, 15 years left, never going to be able to spend the money. You remember the old Jaguar, you're a car guy. Let's I don't know, put a bid in.
We'll take you to lunch. It's on Clutch Culture. It'll be on us.
We got a company card. We'll take you out.
For sure.
We're on board. We'll give you some ideas, which will be just us basically pulling up old cars and say, build this. Which is
better than any idea you've been given in modern times. So, I mean.
And by the way, you get a free lunch.
Come on.
Free lunch. We're not going to charge you.
Come on.
If you want to pay us, we'll have a number ready for being the head of design. But let's just go through your whole Rolodex of awesome designs, pick out 5 of them, and build them. How about that? There's your idea, Jaguar.
I absolutely love it. Okay, last thing, because we did Motor Trend's EV of the Year, and I had you guess, and you were close, but you missed, Cadillac being the EV of the Year. Can you guess Motor Trend's 2026, or rather, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, we'll call it?
Why is it my head going to, what was the EV truck released this year?
I don't know. You just tell me, what's the Motor Trend Truck of the Year? Can't give you any hints here. There's no fun in that.
It's not a Silverado, is it?
I mean, is that your final answer?
Yeah.
I can tell you it's not. I'll tell you it's not. I'll tell you it's not. If you want to get another whack at it.
I mean, wouldn't Truck of the Year always be Raptor?
It should be, but it is in the same family, and it is the Maverick, the Ford Maverick. Woo!
Okay.
Claps.
I mean, yeah, unfortunately, I'm a little bit unclear of what the criteria is to be Truck of the Year, Car of the Year, Performance Car of the Year. Because let me tell you how all this stuff goes with Performance Car of the Year. Whatever the coolest sports car that was released, because basically for a decade you could have just made the new GT3 Performance Car of the Year.
Right.
But you got to give you got to get C8 in there. So I don't know what the criteria is. I mean, okay, we cheer on the Maverick. I think the Maverick's price point is getting to a little bit of a shaky point. In all seriousness. So what do they got? So they're still advertising the $28,000 one that nobody can get.
Mm-hmm. And the Lariats are 37 to 39.
You imagine saying I want a Lariat Maverick?
What do you mean?
I just don't think. I'm just asking. Is that what you'd go in and ask for? If you're already going to pay $40,000, I'd just get a Gen 1 Raptor.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, I mean, I would like a Lariat Maverick, but not for $40,000+. I will ask you this though: one just came across or available not too far from me. It's a 22, 23 maybe, 60,000 miles, $21K. Not bad, right? I thought it wasn't terrible.
It's a number that intrigues you, but why do I feel like it should be like 16?
Yeah, because it should have started at like 22, and then it would have been 25, 26, and now you can buy it again for 16. But in the world we're living in, they sold it for 35, and now you can buy it or 40 maybe even, because I think it was an XLT, it wasn't a Lariat. 21, you're like, huh, okay, 21?
That's kind of been our point about everything. When people are like, I'd never buy an EV. You and I were talking about this with the Rivian news. I'd never buy an EV. Well, if they were $20,000, you would.
I still rather have the Maverick, to be honest with you.
No,
$20,000.
Yeah,
20
hold
grand.
on, but I'm not debating that.
Hey, whoa.
Yeah, don't put words in my mouth, Dad.
Don't get wound up so quickly.
Yeah,
all right, I'm too used to this.
Yeah, don't put words in my mouth, Dad. What I'm saying is that everything has a value at a certain price, even if you don't love it. Like if you're so anti-EV, but I told you they were $12,000, you'd be like, I might get an EV.
But in that world, there's always something you're cross-shopping it with, right? So let's just say all things being equal, it's $12,000 for the Maverick or $12,000 for the EV, or $20,000 for the Maverick or $20,000 for the EV. You're never picking the EV.
You and I always say the same thing, man. Maverick, I believe, missed a huge opportunity during COVID because of production issues. I think that 5 years could have made Ford all kinds of money if it was handled properly.
Oh, man, imagine.
I mean, you would have seen them everywhere. But
in a white hot economy, with a cheap Maverick, I mean, game changer.
I mean,
Toyota would have.
And again, this is when we say to people, production issues and doing things out of the country has a price. That was the price for Ford. The price for Ford was they couldn't get the trucks built. They can blame chip shortage, this and that, but building them in Mexico added a layer of problems that they were escaping building F-150s, at the time. And I believe to this day, just like we always say, probably the canary in the coal mine for Nissan was canceling the Xterra as overlanding took off. That was kind of one of the all-time dumb decisions. Yeah. One of the all-time really weird moments for Ford's history was the market share they could have gobbled up. Had they been able to build the Maverick, they were promising everybody at the numbers they needed to produce them.
I mean,
it's a sliding door moment. I mean, it really is if you think about it.
There's a couple of clips that are going to be coming out about, reshoring stuff. I'm going to be interested if people actually take the time to comment and give some perspective on it because, there's people wildly on both sides of it. It'll absolutely never happen. And then some people that think it's going to happen in 12 months. It's like, hey, everybody relax.
It's probably in between.
Yeah.
Sort of like politics. It's probably somewhere in the middle. Let's all relax.
Settle down. If you take anything away from this podcast, settle down.
Hey, it's Christmas time. You got the decorations up.
Exactly.
Half of you don't work all the month of December. Ask me
Not
how I
here.
know.
Clutch Culture, we're going full blast. As a matter of fact, we'll be recording the Christmas special a few days from when this episode drops. So, Nick, you got anything else between now and then?
No, we're all good, man.
All right, we will see everybody next week for the Christmas extravaganza. I will have your Santa hat in the mail, so make sure to wear it.
Take care, brush your hair.
See you guys.
See ya.